The year is 539 BCE. The walls of mighty Babylon rise into the desert sky like mountains made by human hands. Its gates are covered with blue glazed bricks and golden dragons. The Euphrates River cuts through the city like a silver snake. Babylon believes itself eternal. But far to the east, a new power is coming. From the rugged lands of Persia rises a leader unlike the tyrants of his age, Cyrus the Great. Born around 600 BCE in ancient Persia, in what is now modern-day Iran, Cyrus did not simply conquer kingdoms with swords. He conquered hearts with policy, strategy, and justice. Most kings of the ancient world ruled through fear. When cities rebelled, they burned them. When nations surrendered, they enslaved them. Empires often erased languages, religions, and identities to force obedience. But Cyrus asked a revolutionary question: what if people obeyed not because they were terrified, but because they were respected? That idea changed history. Before Babylon, Cyrus had already united the Medes and Persians around 550 BCE. He defeated powerful kingdoms like Lydia in Anatolia and expanded his empire across much of the ancient Near East. Yet historians remember him not only for military genius but for restraint after victory. When Cyrus entered Babylon in 539 BCE, historical records suggest the city suffered far less destruction than many conquered capitals of the era. According to the famous Cyrus Cylinder, often called one of the earliest declarations of human rights, Cyrus allowed displaced peoples to return to their homelands and restore their temples. Among them were the Jewish exiles taken from Jerusalem decades earlier by the Babylonians. Cyrus permitted them to return and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. To many Jews, he became more than a foreign ruler, he became a liberator. In fact, the Hebrew Bible refers to Cyrus with extraordinary respect for a non-Jewish king. Think critically about this moment. Why would a conqueror allow conquered people to keep their religion, culture, and traditions? Because Cyrus understood something many rulers failed to see. Stability built on tolerance lasts longer than stability built on terror. Fear can control people for a season. Justice can unite them for generations. Cyrus ruled an empire stretching from Central Asia to the borders of Egypt, one of the largest the world had ever seen. Yet he did not force everyone to become Persian. Different languages continued to be spoken. Local leaders often remained in place. Religious practices were largely protected. This was not pure kindness alone. It was intelligent leadership. Cyrus realized diversity was not a weakness to erase, but a strength to organize. By respecting local customs, he reduced rebellion and built loyalty across enormous distances. His empire became a network of cultures connected under one administration rather than crushed under one identity. Modern audiences should ask themselves, how different would history look if more leaders understood this principle? Even today, nations struggle with ethnic conflict, religious intolerance, and abuse of power. Cyrus's story forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Advanced civilizations are not measured only by military strength or wealth, but by how they treat the powerless, the foreigner, and the defeated. Of course, Cyrus was still an emperor. His campaigns were violent. Armies marched, cities surrendered, and lives were lost. He was not a modern democratic leader, but compared with many rulers of the ancient world, his methods were remarkably pragmatic and humane. That contrast is what makes his legacy endure. More than 2,500 years later, the name of Cyrus still echoes through history classrooms, archaeological museums, and political debates. Some remember him as a conqueror, others remember him as a visionary king. Perhaps he was both. And maybe that is the deeper lesson of history. True greatness is not simply the power to take lands, it is the wisdom to rule people with fairness after victory.